$40. That is what a single bag of premium grass seed costs you now. And most of it is about to rot in the dirt where it lands. Picture it. It is a cool Saturday morning in fall. You walk out across your garden with a coffee in one hand and a bag of seed in the other. The air is crisp, the light is soft, and for 1 second everything feels right. Then your eyes drop to the ground. Thin patches, pale, tired turf, bare brown spots where nothing has grown in 2 seasons. And that quiet sinking feeling hits you again because you did this last year and the year before, and the lawn still looks like this. Here is who put you here. The man in the orange apron at the big box garden aisle who handed you a bag and said, just toss it down, water it, you are good. The fertilizer label that promised a thick green carpet in 14 days. The advice you have been fed for years that says seeding is simple, anyone can do it, just scatter and pray. None of them lied to your face, they just left out the part that actually matters. And I know exactly how this feels. You spend the money, you spend the weekend, you bend your back, walk in that yard line by line, and 3 weeks later you have a few weak green hairs poking up through the same old dirt. The birds ate half your seed, and the bare patch by the fence is still staring at you like it is laughing. Every single fall, same effort, same hope, same disappointment. Here is the truth. Most people overseed completely wrong, and they do it in a way that feels right. They wait too late in the season. They throw the seed straight onto hard, matted, uncut ground, and then they water it once and walk away like the job is done. So nothing changes, the yard stays thin, the money disappears, and the bare spots win again. So here is what I am going to show you today. The old, slow, patient way the Amish have overseeded their growing ground for generations. The way that actually works, because it respects how a seed really wakes up. We are going to split this into 2 parts. First, the timing and the soil contact problem, which is the real reason your seed dies. Then the seeding methods themselves, from the simplest hand scatter all the way up to the method a professional would reach for. And then at the very end, there is one final approach. It is the entire reason I made this video. It is the thing that stops both of these problems from ever coming back. But I am not going to name it yet, because if I told you now, you would not understand why it works. So let me ask you one thing first. You believe fall seeding is about the seed, right? What if I told you the seed is the least important part of the whole job? Part 1 is the problem nobody in that garden aisle will explain to you, and it is all about timing and contact. And I am putting it first because this is the version of the mistake that breaks the most hearts. Here is what you instinctively do. The weather turns cool, the leaves start dropping, you think, perfect, time to seed. You grab the bag, you walk the yard, you fling the seed across the grass in big, confident arcs, and it feels productive. It feels like farming. You can see the seed sitting there on top of the lawn, so your brain says, job done. But here is what is actually happening beneath your feet. That seed is sitting on top of a layer of dead grass, old clippings, and matted thatch that can be half an inch to an inch thick. It never touches soil, and a grass seed cannot germinate on air and dead material. It needs to be pressed against living, moist earth so the moisture can soak into the seed coat and wake it up. A seed needs steady contact with damp soil for roughly 14 to 21 days to root properly. If it is balanced up on a bed of thatch, it dries out between waterings, the outer shell cracks, and the embryo inside simply dies. On top of that, exposed seed lying on the surface is a free buffet. Birds will clear out a huge share of what you scatter within the first 2 or 3 days. And the timing makes it worse. Most people wait until the air feels cold to them, which is usually too late. Grass seed germinates on soil temperature, not air temperature. You want soil sitting between 50 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which in most regions means the window opens in late summer and runs through about the middle of fall. Seed too late, and the soil drops below 50, germination crawls to a stop, and the young seedlings that did sprout never harden off before the first hard frost kills them. So here is the reframe that turns the whole thing upside down. You are not planting seed. You are planting contact. The seed is nothing. The pressure of that seed against warm, damp soil is everything. Now here is how you actually do it right, from the simplest move to the most thorough. The first thing and this costs you nothing, mow your grass shorter than you ever normally would right before you seed. Drop your mower down and cut the lawn to about 1.5 to 2 inches. Bag those clippings. Do not leave them. This opens the canopy so light and seed can reach the ground instead of getting trapped up in the leaf blades. The second thing, you have to deal with that thatch layer. Take a stiff metal rake, a simple garden rake will do, and scratch hard across the soil until you can see bare dirt showing through in lines. You are not being gentle here. You want to tear up that dead mat and scuff the top 1/4 inch of soil so the seed has somewhere to nest. On a small garden plot, this takes maybe 20 minutes of honest work. The third thing, and this is the step almost everyone skips, after you scatter your seed, you have to press it down. The Amish way is the back of a rake, a roller, or quite literally walking the whole plot with flat, steady steps to push every seed into firm contact with the earth. A seed pressed into soil will out-germinate a seed lying loose on top by a wide margin, easily double. And let me make the stakes very plain, because this is what it costs you when you get it wrong. You do not just lose the $40 in seed. You lose the whole season. That bare patch by the fence stays bare straight through winter, then it turns to mud in spring, then weeds move into the open ground because weeds always colonize bare soil first, and now next fall you are not just seeding, you are fighting weeds too. One skip step in October becomes a whole year of regrowth you have to chase. So here is your one universal prevention tip for this part. Never seed onto a surface you cannot see soil through. If you look down and see only green leaves and dead thatch, your seed is already dead. Scratch it open first every time. And if this way of thinking about the ground beneath your feet, feeding the soil first, working with what nature already knows is something you want to go deeper on, I put together a full guide for exactly that. It is called the Amish Soil Guide, and together with the Amish Lawn Guide, they are available as the Complete Amish Yard Field Edition. The same principles I keep coming back to on this channel, laid out start to finish so you have them in one place. It is $97, and you can find the link down in the description. A lot of people tell me it is the first time the whole picture finally made sense. But let us get back to the seed itself, because knowing the timing is only half of what you need. And look, if this is the kind of thing nobody bothers to tell you in the garden aisle, the why underneath the what, do me one quick favor and subscribe. That is genuinely all this channel does. Take the jobs everyone gets wrong and show you the mechanism so you only have to learn it once. One tap, and then let us get straight back into it. Part 2 is a completely different problem, because now your seed is touching soil and the timing is right, but you can still lose the entire crop in a way that takes weeks to even notice and months to fix. So here is the thesis, blunt and simple. Bad seed and bad coverage will waste a perfect plan, and most people pick their seed and spread it in the 2 worst ways possible. Here is the universal mistake. People grab whatever bag is cheapest and biggest, the contractor mix stacked on the bottom shelf, and then they spread it by hand in uneven fistfuls, and the catastrophe does not show up for 3 or 4 weeks. By the time you see it, you have dark green ropes of thick grass in some spots and thin, bald gaps right next to them, a patchy, striped, embarrassing lawn, and there is nothing you can do until next season because the window has closed. Months of waiting locked in by a 30-second decision. So let me give you the methods. Cheapest and simplest first, climbing up to what a pro would actually reach for. Method 1. Match the seed to your conditions before you spend a penny. This is the floor, and it is free. If your garden ground gets full sun, you want a tall fescue or a ryegrass blend, because those varieties put down deep roots and tolerate heat and foot traffic. If your plot sits in shade for more than half the day, you need a fine fescue blend, because fine fescues are the only common grass that actually thrives on as little as 4 hours of sun. Here is the mechanism. Grass makes its food through its blades. Put a sun-hungry seed in shade and it starves no matter how perfectly you planted it. Read the back of the bag, find the sunlight rating, and buy to your yard, not to the price. A good blend runs you about $40 to $60 a bag and covers roughly 1,000 square feet of overseeding. Spend it once on the right seed instead of twice on the wrong one. Method 2, spread it with a tool, not your hand. Your hand will never, ever spread seed evenly because your throw is heavier where you start and lighter where you tire. The fix costs almost nothing. A handheld broadcast spreader is about $15 to $25, and a small push spreader is around $30 to $50. Here is the trick that doubles your evenness. Set the spreader to half the recommended rate, then walk the whole plot once north to south, then walk it again east to west with the second half. Those two passes crossing each other cancel out the gaps. The way two thin coats of paint always beat one thick one. Overseeding rate for most lawns is about 3 to 5 pounds of seed per 1,000 square feet. Go heavier than that and the seedlings choke each other fighting for the same water and light. Go lighter and you leave gaps for weeds. Measure it, do not guess it. Method 3, and this is the one a professional reaches for when the result has to be perfect. After you have scratched the soil and spread your seed, you top dress with a thin layer of fine compost or screen topsoil, no more than a 1/4 inch over the whole area. Here's why this is the gold standard. That thin blanket does 3 jobs at once. It locks the seed against the soil so it cannot blow or wash away. It hides the seed from the birds so you keep what you paid for. And it holds moisture right at the seed line so the ground does not dry out between waterings, which is the single biggest killer of germinating seed. A bag of quality screen compost is about $5 to $7, and for a small garden plot you might use 2 or 3 bags. Spread it thin, you should still see seed peeking through, then water it with a light mist, never a hard blast, because a heavy stream will float your seed into the low corners and undo everything. Light water. Twice a day for the first 10 days, then back off to once a day. Keep that top layer the color of a damp sponge, never soaked, never bone dry, and you will see green in 7 to 14 days instead of staring at empty dirt. So now you understand the timing, the contact, the seed, and the coverage. But getting it to grow once is only half the battle. Part 3, prevention. And this is the one I sealed at the very top, the entire reason this video exists. Here it is. Finally, the thing that stops both the thin patch problem and the washaway problem from ever coming back is building your soil with a yearly top dress of compost every single fall before you ever touch the seed. That is it. That is the old Amish secret hiding in plain sight. They never chased a thin lawn with more and more seed. They fed the ground, and the ground grew the grass for them. Here is why it works mechanically, in one breath. A thin, patchy lawn is almost never a seed problem, it is a soil problem, because dead, compacted, lifeless dirt cannot hold water or feed roots, so seedlings starve no matter how many you plant. A 1/4 inch layer of finished compost spread across the whole plot every fall feeds the soil life, opens up the compaction so air and water move down to the roots, and holds moisture like a sponge through the dry spells. The tool is nothing fancy, just a wheelbarrow, a shovel, and the back of a rake to level it out. You spread it thin, you rake it smooth, and you let the fall rain and the worms pull it down into the ground for you over winter, and here is what it saves you. Most people reseed the same bare spots 3 or 4 times across a few years. That is well over $100 in wasted seed and a half dozen ruined weekends. Feed the soil once a year instead, and within 2 seasons, your lawn fills in on its own and stops opening up those bare patches in the first place. Call it $40 to $60 of compost a year that saves you the seed, the labor, and the heartbreak year after year. So which path is yours? If you have a small garden plot and a free Saturday, do the full method. Scratch the soil, spread the right seed with a spreader, and top dress with compost, and you will get a near perfect fill. If you are short on time and only fighting a few thin spots, just do method 1 and method 2, right? The match seed and the cross spreader passes, and you will fix most of it. And if you are tired of doing this every single year, the compost top dress is your answer, because that is the only one of these that actually ends the cycle instead of repeating it. Now, here is the new problem you are going to run straight into, because everyone does. You are going to do all of this right. Your new grass is going to come up thick and green, and then in the worst possible spot, you are going to see broadleaf weeds and crabgrass pushing up right alongside your baby seedlings, and you will not be able to spray them because every weed killer that works will also kill grass that young. That is the wall everyone hits about 4 weeks after seeding, and getting it wrong burns the whole lawn you just built. If that is a spot you are in, or you know it is coming, drop a comment below and just type the word weeds so I know to make that video next, and I will show you exactly how to clear them out without killing your new grass. Subscribe so you actually see it when it lands, because if you miss that step, everything you just did this fall goes to waste. Do the work, feed the soil, and I will see you in the next one. But before you close this out, let me hand you the 3 small details that separate a lawn that fills in thick from one that comes up thin and spotty, because these are the things that trip people up in week 2 and 3 when the hard part should already be behind them. First, watch your water like it is the whole job, because it is. The number one reason a perfect seeding still fails is a single dry afternoon in those first 10 days. Once a seed swells with moisture and cracks open to push out its first root, if that root hits dry soil even once, it dies, and it does not get a second chance. So light water twice a day, morning and early afternoon, never in the evening, because water sitting cold on the surface overnight invites fungus that will rot your seedlings before they ever stand up. Keep that top quarter-inch damp, never flooded, until the new grass is tall enough for its first mow. Second, stay off it. I mean, completely off it. Those baby blades have roots barely a half-inch deep for the first 2 weeks, and one boot, one dog, one wheelbarrow shortcut across the fresh ground will crush and tear roots that have nothing holding them down yet. Rope it off if you have to. Walk the long way around. Give it 21 days of total peace, and it will reward you. Third, do not feed it the wrong thing at the wrong time. People see green coming up and immediately reach for a strong nitrogen fertilizer to push it faster. Do not. A hot fertilizer on tender seedlings burns the roots and leaves you with yellow scorched streaks. If you want to feed, use a gentle starter fertilizer, the kind labeled high in phosphorus, the middle number on the bag, because phosphorus drives root growth, not blade growth, and roots are exactly what a young plant needs to survive its first winter. And here is the last thing, the one that ties it all together. Do not judge your results in October. Fall seeding does its real work underground, out of sight, all the way through winter, building a root system you cannot see. The lawn you are quietly building right now is the one that explodes thick and green next spring while your neighbor is out there scattering seed onto cold, dead ground, wondering why nothing happens. You will already be ahead. That is the whole point of doing it, the slow, patient, old-fashioned way. Feed the ground, press the seed, water it gentle, and let time do the rest.